Good evening. My name is Chris Carpenter, and I'm going to be doing something a little different on the blog today and do a video blog or a vlog. Not uncomfortable doing this, but it's not something that I would choose to do all the time. During this the last couple months, everybody's world was turned upside down by this pandemic, and we had to resort to teaching online for classes that we were normally teaching in person. I've taught online, and most of our classes were asynchronous. And what that means is that I didn't have to be on there with the students. They could come on at any time they needed. I like asynchronous as a student because I can do the classes on my time. I like it as an instructor as well because I can schedule my time around other things that I'm doing, and I can schedule when I'm going to get on there to review students' work and make sure that I'm giving them the proper feedback that they need at the times that they expect. So I check on them through the week to see how they're doing with discussion forums, if there's any questions that are on there that are directed towards me about any of the assignments. And then at the end of the week, I'm grading the assignments and giving them feedback and seeing if there's anything else that is required of me. Put out announcements so that they can so that the students know what we're going to be doing for the following week and what else is coming up. So, those things they changed a little bit for the strictly online classes. I was able to just kind of keep doing what I was doing there. With those online classes, I did do something. I tried to add something. So I went ahead, and since I was at home, we were working from home now, and since I was here and I had the time, I decided that I would well, look at that, have class, and I get a text message, and it is that's kind of funny because it's from my wife, who is right outside. So, and those are things when you're working from home and trying to do things that you tend to forget, because when I'm in the classroom, I always have my phone off to where it's not, I might have it on me, but I usually do not have the volume turned on so that I don't get interrupted like that. And also, I have the same rule for my students. I only make one exception, and I always ask that at the beginning. If anybody has any kind of family issue or like a pregnancy that's wife, girlfriend, or whatever is about ready to deliver, and they need to know that right now, I do give a leeway on that. Haven't had that happen yet, but I do make exceptions for those. And also working here on my computer, I just had something pop up on my screen. You wouldn't have seen it, but it popped up telling me to do something, or it's about ready to do something. So doing an update. That's kind of weird when things like that pop up. And what I'm using here to do this recording is a feature called Zoom. My school did not have this until the pandemic came, and then it kind of, if there was an opportune time, and that's not really how I really want to put that, but it hit at a time when we were on our spring break. So March 5th was our last day for midterms. Then we went on spring break, and then things kind of went crazy the next Thursday during the spring break. And then we said, okay, we're going to switch to online classes. We were going to try to meet, and then then it really went kind of haywire. So we moved everything to online, and Zoom is something that I was not familiar with. I'm still learning things on Zoom. I do like it. There are other things out there. I've used Microsoft Teams before. There's another, I've got it written down here. I had to write it down because I knew I'd forget it. It is called Ring Central Meeting. So it's very similar to the Zoom and other teleconferencing items. So these things were developed for another reason, but then we saw that it was seen that it could be used for education. I really like this feature. Like I said before, I got distracted there. I apologize. That I started to use it for my online classes where I didn't really do lectures or really do anything in the class other than grade and do announcements and have discussions, insert myself into the discussions, and just kind of let the students do what they were doing. So I decided that I would do lectures, and those students didn't have a set time. Like I said, it's an asynchronous course, so they didn't have a set time to be on there, and I just picked a time that was convenient for me, and I got on there. I let everybody know. We also got a new feature. It's called Signal Vine. It's a texting feature. To me, I did not really like that feature myself. I mean, it's good that it sends out the messages as long as the students are, if they see it and they look at it and they accept it. But I found it kind of cumbersome because once I sent the message out, I didn't know if the students responded unless I got on my email. I didn't really care for that. I think, that was another one of those, oh, we need something, so we went out and got something without shopping around. I don't know that for sure, but that's just what I saw of it. It's good for what it does, but I think we could, if we're going to keep doing something like that, we should probably look into something more. There are other features out there too. And I just lost it. It's an app for teachers and instructors that you have the students' information and you can send it out without giving out your personal phone. That was something that we talked about earlier in our course here for digitally mediated. My goodness, I lost the name of the class. I got so many things running around my head right now. Anyway, that was one of the things, question that was posed with the social media. What is the right thing to do if a student is asking to be to follow you or friend you or something like that on social media? Where's that boundary? Where do you draw that line? And I know my number was actually given out one time, and I didn't realize it. I got a text message sent to me, and a student was actually, it was a group text, and I didn't realize it was a group text. And so the student had my number, and now they have it, and they were able to answer, instead of using email or something like that as a professional source. They had questions, they would text me, and I didn't have too much of an issue with it because it's not used like all the time. It's not every hour on the hour or anything like that. But it is one of those things that I think it could have been handled a little differently, in my opinion. But it's done. It's over. There's no harm in what has been done, but maybe a little violation of the privacy, but that's okay. So where do you draw that line? And that's where that signal line is good in that it sends you can send a text message out. You open up the app on the computer and you can send it out to your students. You can select which students it goes to. You can do it by class. You can do it by groups in your class, and you can also do like just all. If you're an advisor, you can do it to all your advisees. And then it sends it from a generated number. It's not your number. That's also confusing to the students because some of them thought that they were contacting me back, and they weren't getting an immediate response because I wasn't on that system anymore and I had to check back in. So it was a very confusing system. Other topics that we've talked about in the class so far, doing a PLE, what we're doing here, or where this is going to be, a personal learning environment. It's new to me, not the concept, but actually doing something with it, doing something about it. I've never had anything like that, never done anything like this before. I am not real comfortable doing it. I don't, I think I ramble a lot, and it probably shows in this video too that I ramble. So, because I have so many thoughts going in my head all the time. Believe it or not, this is how sometimes how I come across in a lecture. I start going, I get off on a tangent, and then I go, oh, hold on, I got to bring this back. But the PLE, I think from an educational standpoint for instructor, and if you want something like this in your classroom, you have to be able to show the students why it's important. Why is it something that is going to benefit them, or how is it going to benefit them in getting a job, getting employment? A friend and colleague of mine, Jeff Starkey, he is in the diesel and automotive department of our school. And he instituted this in his program, and they actually do what they call cross-blogging. And they would, so here we are in Marietta, Ohio, and his students are doing their blogs about what they're doing in class, what they're working on, how they're working on the team. They're grading their teammates in their blogs, and they're just writing about what goes on. Like a diary. That's pretty much what it is. Hey, here's some thoughts that I have in my head, and then so they'll use it, and then they actually they'll take pictures of the projects they're working on, and they'll discuss the different aspects of how they could have done something better, or how this person helped. They came up with this idea of doing something, and then they do cross-blogging with another school out in Washington, and it's kind of a neat story because our school is Washington State Community College. It's actually named after the county that we live in Ohio, is Washington County. And then these students are out in Washington, in Bellingham, Washington, Bellingham Technical College, I believe is what the name of it is. So they blog with each other. The schools blog across each other. They're both in automotive programs. And when discussing with advisory committees, Jeff has learned that that's what employers are looking for, that they can see they have the e-portfolio of skills that they have learned and what they have done on the autos or on the trucks, and they can actually show what's going on. But it's also going to be part of their job, or could be, because when they're doing repair work on a vehicle, they have to take pictures and to show what they're doing, so they can show the insurance company and show the manufacturers, hey, this is what we have done to this vehicle. This is why we had to do this thing to this vehicle. Because if they don't show and don't have that proof, they don't get their money back, from the dealer, or from the manufacturer, or from the insurance company. when they do the work. So this is a tool to help them get ready for the job that they're going to have. So it's nice. So, you know, that's the PLE and the blogging. You know, it's the PLE is not just blogging. It's all kinds of things that you can put in there. Videos of what you've done. And I've started to do some videos. I have a machine shop. That's what I do, industrial technology. And I've started videoing the students and myself setting up parts and running code. We'll actually put up the code in the video so that we can see it, that others can see what's going on, and we'll describe what is happening as the machine is moving around. So that doing that also helps the students understand why the code is written the way it is. And if they can tell you what the machine is doing, then they can do a watch back of the video, and they can see and they can explain what the machine is doing. They'll understand why the code is written the way it's written. You know, so I haven't done a lot with it, and I'm just getting more into that. You know, I didn't know. It's one of those, I didn't know what I didn't know, because I didn't know that would be a benefit. In some of my other online courses that I've taught, the students had to do charts in Excel. You know, it was a statistical quality analysis, and so we had to do Pareto charts and you know, other charts that would go along with the statistical quality control. You know, we're making pie charts and X bar and R charts, and you know, so showing that if you didn't know how to do those things and you're trying to learn on your own, it's a little difficult. So I found videos. I didn't make them myself because there's videos online through Excel that actually show you how to do those. So I would find those and I would make sure, and I keep them updated as excuse me, as Excel came out with a new update. So we originally, when I started, we were on 2013. Then I had to update to 2016, and now I've had to update to 2019, just to make sure that we're keeping up and we have those videos on there. You can embed them right into the learning management system, and it stays there, and they can refer back to it when they need to. Having the videos be able to be embedded into the learning management system is invaluable. It's always there. You know, you can go back, you can hit pause, so you can have both screens open at the same time. And you know, talking on that, that's why I really like this Zoom, because I'm able to share my screen. You know, so I can do that now. You know, I can hit the share screen and come up, and if I wanted to share, so here's a whiteboard, and I bring that up, and now I'm still up here in the corner, but I can, you know, I've got my little pin here, and let's say I was doing something, and we can draw a little circuit here, a little electrical circuit coming here, and those are resistors. I'm doing this real quick, so don't make too much fun of me here. And then I can say I have a current coming in. You know, we got 12 volts coming in, and that's our voltage. And then we have current coming through. We'll just say we have 10 amps coming through there. And then we have our resistor 1 and resistor 2. And we can give one of them a value, and we can just say it's, we'll just give it 2 ohms. Oh, that's a horrible drawing. That's 2 ohms, and then we can say, oh, what is this? Well, we know we can go to I can show the equation for Ohm's law, and which is voltage is equal to current times resistance. So I can use this, and draw something up. I can also go and I can come up and I can actually let someone else, let another student take control of my screen. I can give them access and let them, instead of me writing everything out on here, I can say, all right, I can see who's in the class, and then I can let them have control and let them do this and go through it. So I really like this feature, not only on the whiteboard, but I can bring up Excel and do the same thing. And with Excel having the draw feature on it, you can do this as well. What I've learned and what I would like to do is invest in a touchscreen computer or monitor, because drawing with a mouse, you can see that's not very good. That doesn't look very professional at all. But if I had my touchscreen, I could sit there and draw on that. Excuse me. So now I go back and get back out of here. And if I hit that there and there, I'm back to full screen. All right. So sometimes that transition can get kind of, if you're not prepared, which I wasn't really prepared to do that. It just it kind of popped in my head and say, hey, I'm going to show you this. But you can take, when you're prepared, you have it set up, and you can click back and forth and say, all right, here we are. Here's this screen. This is what we're doing. And you can have different tabs. So if I were to share my screen again, and you can see all the open tabs I have up here. Now, with that being said, one of the elements of digital citizenship is security. So here I've got my camera on, that it can, if I don't have a firewall set up, then my camera, someone else can come in on my camera and see, look around my room. Of course, there's not much to see here. You can see my door to get in and the wall. It's a very small room. I don't really have anything in here except there's my picture of one of the boats I was on while we were getting it repaired. That's really all you can see in here. I don't have anything else that you can see. You can't really pan around. But also security, and if I were to share this and you see all those tabs, there was a recent article, it was just a couple months ago, of a instructor, a professor at, I believe it was Miami University. I could have that wrong. I don't want to, I guess I shouldn't have said the school, but there's a professor at a large institution, and he had some, it was a site that you could see, one of his tabs was up there, and you could see what it was, and all the students could see it. And he ended up resigning his position because it was, a risque site is what it would be. So you have to be careful of that and know what you're putting out there to the public when you're doing something like this. Don't let everybody come in and see what's going on, and don't let everybody see what it is that you have out here. One of the features, you can see I have a green wall in here. I didn't paint it. That's just the way it was. And I'm not used to painting houses on. So when we moved in here, we saw everything, and we haven't changed much on the inside. So anyway, there's a feature in Zoom where you can change your background. And I thought, oh, I'm going to try that. Well, you should have a solid background back here. And it should be one color. You can tell what color it is when you go in there to the options, and you can set what the background was. Well, I did that once, and I had the background that I chose was, I took a trip to Europe a couple years ago, and we traveled through France and Belgium and Germany, and I got to go to where the Battle of the Bulge took place. And we walked through the forest, and the foxholes are still there. I thought that was really neat. So I took some pictures of the forest, and I had used that as my background. So I had trees here and here, and then there's my door. So it didn't work out. It was very distracting because the door, you know, everywhere where it was a different color, it would show that that was there. So my light switch was there, the picture was there, everything that wasn't the solid green, I could still see, and it kind of jumped. It was fuzzy around there. So I didn't use that very long. Um, you know, some of the other things that we have done, especially for the week here for the digital presentations, um, you know, I I'm more comfortable using PowerPoint. At least I thought I was. I made PowerPoint presentations with a video with me down in the corner, and I recorded a PowerPoint, and I thought that I had done it the same way, but it was just me doing a voiceover of the PowerPoint. I was like, huh, well, yeah, I forgot to turn my camera on. So, you know, there's some things that, you know, you just have to make sure that you're prepared. And that's, you know, one of the articles, and now I can't remember where that was, but it was, oh goodness. Basically, it's just knowing that you're, you know, to be prepared. Reading the website that had different web tools for teaching, you know, digital storytelling. I looked through some of those programs and apps and whatnot, and I tooled around. I played around with one of them on, I think it's called Beyond. I think it's how you pronounce it. And I was able to take the PowerPoint presentation that I made, and I kind of used their animations that was on this service, and I made a little another little short. The problem with that was I couldn't upload that video, or I couldn't figure out how to upload that video because it gave me, hey, you have to upgrade, because I just used the free service. It was neat. It was a neat thing to try out. It wasn't very difficult to learn how to do, move things around to get the animated people to be able to talk. It was kind of funny because I used one voice, but I didn't use the same person in each slide, if you will, each scene. There's one where it's a teacher and an older lady teacher, and she's, you know, got her pointer, and the elements are coming up across the chalkboard, and she's pointing and telling about them, and then it's in the voice of a man. So I found it kind of funny when I watched it back, and I was like, well, I'd probably have to change that, you know, because their mouths would move with the what was being said. Now, I could have done my voice and voiced over the whole thing, but I chose to do the computer-generated voice, and found out that sometimes, you know, the computer has as much problem with the English language as we do, and that I wanted it to say lead, but it pronounced it as lead. So L-E-A-D, it pronounced it as lead. Well, we have the same issue sometimes when we're learning our English language. So you have to be careful of that. You know, knowing the audience that you're portraying, or that you're projecting to, would help with what you would decide that you're going to use. Are you going to use your voice, or are you going to use a computer voice? Is that computer voice, is it coherent and easily understood? I almost said legible, but that doesn't make any sense. You know, so understanding who it's going to, and who you're going to be talking to or talking with, that's one of the important things that you need to know before you actually choose what kind of video presentation you're going to do, or digital presentation you're going to do. You know, with the computer, like here, I know that I have a problem sometimes when I'm thinking, and I do the I have those pauses. You know, they're not natural. They're just thrown in there because that's the way I speak. If you want to use the computer voice, that's not in there. But you need to make sure that you find a computer voice that actually is going to work well and not have the problem with the English language that I do, and not have a problem with when certain words come across that it uses a different pronunciation for that word, or the alternate pronunciation. Make sure that it's the volume is right and what you're actually showing. Make sure that stuff those items are, what do I want to say, appropriate for the audience that you're showing it to. If you're teaching middle schoolers, make sure that it's appropriate to middle schoolers. If you're showing something in a business atmosphere, make sure that it's professional in that realm as well. I think that I've probably talked quite enough. I know I ramble on, and I'm sure my writing seems like I ramble on, and well, now you know why. I talk a little bit how I write, a little all over the place. I do want to leave one last thing. I get the background I have being in the Navy was procedural driven, right? So we didn't do anything without a procedure. And you would think that I would be able to read directions and follow directions very well. I had 20 years of practice, over 20 years of practice doing it. But I make mistakes. And I think in what I had originally done with this blog post was just add a video, a couple videos on there, and I knew it was supposed to be a video blog, but I didn't ask questions, and I'm bad about that. And if I think I know what I'm supposed to be doing, I'm not going to ask a question about it. I'm going to move on, move forward, and do what I think I'm supposed to be doing. If I don't know if I don't think I know, then I ask questions, and that usually gets me in trouble. But I do appreciate the feedback that I get from my instructor. She's very helpful and has been very helpful in the class and very understanding with all of us as well. So hope this is a little better than what I did before. And again, I do apologize for rambling on. I tend to do that. All right, well, thank you, and until next time, either on the vlog or on the blog, we'll see what we do next. Thanks.